everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss?, where today I'll be breaking down the first two episodes of the fourth season of Star Trek Lower Decks, titled Tuvix and I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee. While both episodes were quite different, they did quickly remind the audience how fun this series can be and how much the writers love the history of Star Trek. Because of that, there are a ton of Easter eggs and references in these two episodes that I will try and break down here. But as always, if I did miss any, let me know in the comments. Also, please don't forget to hit that like button so that these videos can get out to more people who love Lower Decks. And also, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. Hey everyone, really quickly, I would like to thank our sponsor for this video, Raid Shadow Legends. If you do not know what Raid Shadow Legends is, it is a super detailed and tactical RPG game that has a killer battle system in more ways than one. It also contains a collection of over 700 unique champions, as well as incredible graphics that together create an intense PvE and PvP experience. Raid's been going on for 4 years now and has tons of gameplay options and ways to customize your experience. You can collect hundreds of powerful champions, each with their own unique skills and abilities. Battle against players from all around the world in 3 exciting PvP modes, including the new real-time live arena. One thing that I appreciate as a longtime player is that Raid's constantly evolving with new modes, features, and quality of life updates to make its world even better. You can play Raid anytime, anywhere, with a bustling worldwide community that includes over 400 million players in 190 plus countries. Everybody likes free stuff, right? Especially when the free stuff in question is a legendary champion. Check out Sun Wukong, Raid's take on the Monkey King from Chinese mythology. He makes his grand appearance in the game, and it couldn't be easier to get him. Just log in on 7 different days between now and October 23rd to get your hands on him. No demons to slay or journeys to the west to undertake here, just log in and get this awesome legendary champion for free. For new players, you can get your hands on Stag Knight, one of the best epic champions around, as well as a skin for Stag Knight designed by Jean Tron. Just use the promo code JTSKIN before October 7th. It's as easy as that. Don't worry, if you're not a new player, you can still get Stag Knight and the skin through an in-game event. With all this exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? Use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses. We are talking an epic champion and other useful things. Once you're in and crushing your enemies, come find me under the character name Elam Garaka, and if you're good enough, maybe I'll see you in the live arena, but you may not want to see me. So let's go over the first episode of the season, Tuvix. The title is a play on the name of the Voyager episode Tuvix, and there are many references to the episode and the series in general throughout this entry of Lower Decks. It is possible that since the third season of Picard referenced the series The Next Generation as well as Deep Space Nine so much, and that the series Strange New Worlds is constantly referencing the original series, that the producers on Lower Decks felt that Voyager needed its proper due as well, so they started this season with a love letter to fans of that show. A major new addition to the Lower Decks cast this season is the character T'Lyn, who first appeared in the second season episode titled Wedge Douge. In the season 3 finale episode, The Stars at Night, it was revealed that T'Lyn had transferred to the Cerritos to be trained by Ensign Tendi. Her name, T'Lyn, is derived from Lower Decks writer Catherine Lynn, who wrote the episode in which the character first appeared and cosplayed at conventions for several years as a Vulcan named T'Lyn before doing so. Boimler is assigned to empty the waste filters in the holodeck, which is a task that Commander Ransom also asked Beckett Mariner to perform in the second season episode, Moist Vessel. Ransom tells Boimler that he has a good chance of being promoted to Lieutenant Junior grade before the day is over. This would be at least the second time that Bradward Boimler has accepted a promotion to this rank, as he was also promoted in the Season 1 finale, No Small Parts, as well as transferred to the USS Titan under the command of Captain William T. Riker. However, after a few mishaps that included him creating a transporter clone of himself, he was sent back to the Cerritos under the rank of ensign. The captain reveals that their current mission is shrouded in secrecy until a Rigelian reveals that he is the caretaker of the original USS Voyager. This ship is the same one used by Captain Janeway and her crew for 7 seasons in the Delta Quadrant on the series Star Trek Voyager. Chronologically, this is the first appearance of the ship since it returned to Earth in that series finale. But we did see the ship earlier in 2023 during the third season of Star Trek Picard, where it is positioned among the greatest ships in Starfleet history at the Fleet Museum. Boimler and Mariner briefly discuss what they refer to as that thing with Pike. This is a reference to the events that took place in the Season 2 Strange New Worlds crossover episode, Those Old Scientists. in which Boimler and Mariner were sent back in time to visit the crew of the Enterprise on that series, and their characters were played in live action by the actors who voiced the characters, Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome, respectively. The Rigelian, whose name is Belho Twinkla, is voiced by comedian Andy Richter, who besides being the sidekick to Conan O'Brien for many years on his talk show, also was prom king at the same high school I went to in Yorkville, Illinois. Go Foxes! The intro for Lower Decks has been slightly different each season and has been updated once again for Season 4. Now, during the battle scene, the cylindrical ship that almost destroyed Earth in the film The Voyage Home has been added. Captain Freeman states in her log that the USS Voyager is being prepared to be sent to Starfleet Command, where she will be spending some time on the ground before the ship is sent back into space again, presumably at the Fleet Museum. But the fact that the Voyager will be on the ground is one of the unique things about the ship and the series she was on, as the USS Voyager was the only main ship on any series to land on a planet and leave orbit once again, something that was seen on screen in the episode Demon. The plotline of Voyager and her crew being part of a museum was actually used in an episode of Voyager named Living Witness. In that episode, a copy of the EMH Doctor is reactivated hundreds of years after Voyager has left the Delta Quadrant, and he witnesses a group of aliens that have immortalized a fictionalized version of the crew as part of a museum exhibit. Tendi and T'Lyn work on getting Tuvok's old quarters set up when the petal from a flower starts to float around the ship, similar to the leaf in the film Forrest Gump. Tuvok was known during his time on Voyager for cultivating plants and even crossbreeding them. It was while crossbreeding an orchid that Tuvok created a flower, which led to the incident that caused him to be combined with the character Neelix. The same thing happens in this episode of Lower Decks after the petal lands on the transporter pad while Dr. T'Ana and Chief Billups are attempting to transport off the ship. Even though this new character is supposed to be a cross of the Doctor and Billups, their shirt still has the same pattern that the character Tuvix had on his shirt in the Voyager episode. To make matters worse, an organism known as a macrovirus is released on the bridge shortly after the transporter accident. This macrovirus first appeared in the Voyager episode Macrocosm, where it started as a microscopic virus but soon mutated into a much larger one. The virus also infected the crew on Voyager in that episode, but in this episode of Lower Decks, Boimler is told that he and the crew of the Cerritos have already been inoculated, so there's no way that he can be infected by it. The bioneural gel pack that the organism hides behind are another feature that is only known to be found on the USS Voyager. They help store more information and operated at faster speeds than isolinear circuitry, but also had many issues during the Voyager's mission. In the episode Macrocosm, the bioneural gel packs are also partly to blame for the release of the macrovirus. As the virus continues to spread on the ship, it is able to activate recreations of the holographic characters Chaotica, Clown, and Michael Sullivan. Dr. Chaotica was the mortal enemy of a pulp comic hero named Captain Proton that Tom Paris recreated in a holodeck program. The villain was able to capture the ship from the holodeck in the Voyager episode Bride of Chaotica. The Clown was a character that was featured in the Voyager episode The Thaw and was played brilliantly by one of the greatest guest stars that Star Trek has ever had, Michael McKean. He was created from the fears of 5 individuals connected to a neural network, and almost captured Harry Kim as well after the Voyager attempted to free them from the network. Michael Sullivan was a character that appeared in 2 episodes during the 6th season of Voyager, and like Dr. Chaotica, was created by Tom Paris, but lived in a recreated version of 19th century Ireland. Captain Janeway came to enjoy the company of this character, and even changed the holodeck program so that his wife had died and then he would be single, which is why his hologram in this episode of Lower Decks mentions how he misses his wife. During the fight, to catch the macrovirus, we also see a clarinet, which no doubt belonged to Harry Kim, as he was seen playing the instrument in at least 4 episodes of Voyager. The macrovirus is assimilated by a Borg nanite after knocking over a Borg alcove, which were located in a cargo bay on Voyager and used by Seven of Nine as well as Icheb, 2 former members of the Borg that served on the ship from the 4th season on. At one point, we see 2 animatronic robots that look like salamanders. This is a reference to the Voyager episode Threshold, wherein Tom Paris and Captain Janeway break the Warp 10 barrier, forcing them to evolve into salamander-like creatures. Eventually, Rutherford is able to defeat the macrovirus by using old brilled cheese, and the crew is no longer spliced into one horrible being after Tendi and T'Lyn work together. Before the episode ends, we see a Klingon ship in space. This is the same Klingon ship that was also featured in the episode Wage Dooge, which was the introduction of the T'Lyn character. The Klingons are fired upon and destroyed by a mysterious ship. At the end of the 3rd season of Lower Decks, the character Badgie was taken away by a mysterious force, and this ship would seem to be the evolution of that character and perhaps others from the first 3 seasons of Lower Decks. Let me know in the comments if you have any theories, and I'll let you know mine on my Monday podcast, WDIM News. So now let's go over all the Easter eggs in the second episode titled I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee. The title of the episode is a reference to the Harlan Ellison sci-fi story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is about an AI that led to the destruction of civilization. Harlan Ellison also wrote the original series episode The City on the Edge of Forever, although, due to a feud the writer had with Gene Roddenberry, his contribution to Star Trek is rarely mentioned, and he is sometimes credited by a pseudonym. The episode begins with the same small ship that destroyed the Klingon ship at the end of the last episode, destroying a Romulan vessel in the same manner. Before getting destroyed, one of the Romulans mentions that he is cleaning off the remains of a Reman, who are a race of aliens that were introduced in the film Nemesis and were once a slave caste of the Romulan people. While working out in the Cerritos gym, Ransom and Shax are wearing the same outfits worn by Crusher and Troy in the TNG episode The Price, and are also doing a similar exercise. The Cerritos is on a mission to rescue 2 humans that have been captured and was referred to as a menagerie by Commander Ransom. This is also the title of a very important first season episode of Star Trek's original series that first introduced the viewing audience to the character Captain Christopher Pike. Next, we get 2 references to episodes that revolved around the character Q. First, during the tour of the menagerie, there is a creature that looks like a crystal ball with 3 snakes attached to it. This is the same being that Q appeared as to the crew of the Enterprise D in the TNG episode Hide and Q. Later in this episode of Lower Decks, Boimler witnesses Dr. T'Ana and Shax enter the holodeck to use a program based on Robin Hood. This is a reference to the TNG episode Cupid, in which Q sends Picard and other members of the Enterprise D bridge crew into Sherwood Forest and the story of Robin Hood. While Rutherford is trying to impress everyone and get a promotion, he creates a modification to a device referred to as the Tucker tubes. These 2 tubes with light running through them have been seen on every Star Trek series, but have never been named on screen before. Their name is presumably a nod to the chief engineer on the NX-01 Enterprise, Trip Tucker. It is ironic that in this episode of Lower Decks, Ensign Livick names his new device with 3 tubes after Billups, not someone named Trip. Part of Boimler's promotion includes moving into his own quarters, and the first ones he gets are right by the warp nacelle. When he sees the bright light, Boimler puts on a visor with a red shield, which is the same one worn by Spock in the original series episode titled Is There in Truth No Beauty? While Boimler is moving his things, you can see a Starfleet recruitment poster featuring number 1 and the quote Ad Astra per Aspera, which is also featured in the Strange New Worlds crossover episode Those Old Scientists. You can also see part of Boimler's Tom Paris plate from the Season 2 Lower Decks episode Will Always Have Tom Paris amongst its things. Rutherford reveals that he has actually turned down at least 3 promotions before the events of this episode. The events that he references are saving the Cerritos from the Packlids, which took place during the first season finale episode, No Small Parts. Rutherford also mentions saving the USS Rubidoux from a space jellyfish, which was shown in the first season episode Much Ado About Boimler, as well as the time he removed the Cerritos' hull during the season 2 finale, First Contact. Once in his new room, Boimler puts up his action figures, which include Spock from the film era, as well as the Mirror Universe version of Jonathan Archer from the Enterprise episode titled In a Mirror Darkly. The episode ends with Boimler and Rutherford now sharing a room together. Rutherford starts messing around with a new project that looks very similar to the one created by Wesley Crusher in the TNG episode The Naked Now. Well, that was everything that I saw in both episodes, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button before you go, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss?